Well, here's where we're at so far with our motor mount. We've had it back in position a couple of times, reset things, and we've got it pretty well tacked in place anyway. I do have one tube over here I'm going to cut out and redo. The fit up on it is really, really bad. So we're going to cut it out, cut a new piece in there, and then from this position it's laid out on the table and clamped down in the position that I think it probably needs to be. Have our hole spacing and everything right. I'm going to go ahead and once I get that new tube fitted, I'm going to weld up everything that I can access from this point, and then what I'll probably do is cut probably a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, clamp it back down again, check all of my dimensions, and then I can rotate that around and get to any welds that aren't really accessible to me. I think that's about the easiest way to handle it at this point in time. So anyway, I'm going to leave the camera on. We'll just kind of speed through it. There's nothing really spectacular you haven't seen before, and if you got any questions, leave them in the comment section for me below and I'll answer them. I'm going to pull it off the table right now, unclamp it, take it out, and make sure everything still bolts up. I'll make sure we've got hole alignment and everything so I haven't warped it. We shouldn't have any problems. Everything's been clamped down to the table. If that's done, I'm going to bring it back in. I'm going to add a few gussets, and I'm probably going to add more gusseting than I need. We're going to gusset this area down here a little bit on both sides just to give it a little more strength. And just tidy it up. We're going to go ahead and clean it up, and then we'll finish welding it. So then this will pretty well be done. After that, we're going to sandblast it off, and I'm not going to powder coat this. Powder coating is not really recommended usually on a motor mount just because it'll kind of hide if you get any cracking starts. So I'm probably just going to, I don't know if I'm going to epoxy coat it. I don't know exactly what kind of a finish I'm going to put on it. I'm not going to get exceptionally excited about it at this point in time. We just want to get a finish on that's going to hold up and at least relatively well. So, but we also want to be able to inspect it periodically. So, okay, well, we're down to final welding of the engine mount. We went ahead, got it tacked in place. I refitted it back to the fuselage and made sure everything's aligned. And then we clamped it back down to the table, added some gussets in there that we're going to weld in place, and then just cut me a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. That way I can rotate it all the way around, bolted it to there. That's where I'll do my finish welding on everything. I can rotate it to any angle and get my welding done. So I'm going to go ahead and weld it up, and we'll bring you back when we get that done and show you what it looks like. Alright, well, here's just a little picture of it on our little piece of plywood. Cut our piece of plywood, screwed it down. We welded it pretty well into place right there. I see a couple more little places I'm going to try and weld up, I think, and then we're probably 90% welded up. We're going to pull it off of the board and get to the last ones on the backside that we can't reach. So anyway, I'll go ahead and finish the final welding on it, and then we'll look at it when we're done. Here is the finished product. We'll do one more fit in place of it and double check everything, make sure dimensions are right. Well, here's the final product. We'll mount it to the firewall one more time, make sure all the holes line up to mount it on and everything, which it looks real good. I don't anticipate any problems. And then we'll sandblast it off and get some paint on it. So, assuming everything's right, why I'll bring it back after we get it painted, and we'll be mounting it back on the firewall and get the mocked up motor set in place. Mounted back in place. I said it was going to be painted before I showed it again, but I'm running out of steam here a little bit, so I think we're going to give you a view here. We're going to mount the motor back on it just to verify that, and double check our measurements for offsets and height and everything, and make a few more calculations for cowling, and then we'll go ahead and leave it at that, and tomorrow we'll pull it back off and get her painted up, I think. Right, last walk around. Looks like everything sets up the way she's supposed to be. A little bit of gusseting down below. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Tomorrow we will pull it off one last time, sandblast it off, and get it painted up hopefully and mount it back on there. Hopefully you found something a little bit interesting there. If you did, if you haven't already, you might want to hit that subscribe button. If you hit the bell notification, you'll know when I put out a new video. And any comments or suggestions you've got for me, leave them in the comment section below. And thanks for taking the time to watch.